In boxing, many hardcore fans follow division by division and can hold a healthy conversation with fellow enthusiasts of the squared circle. But for casual fans, either a huge name or the heavyweight champion is what draws attention to the sport. So it's in the best interest of the sport as a whole to have clarity at the top, which brings us to the current state of the heavyweight division. The upset of Joe Joyce against Zhang has helped bring buzz to the division and hopefully opens it up to new exciting matchups. In this video we'll break down the condition of the division in key categories such as best puncher, best boxer, most avoided, most protected, as well as whose stock is on the rise, whose is falling, best overall fighter, and finally an overall forecast for the biggest division in sports. So without further ado, welcome back to the state of boxing, the state of the heavyweight division. As the saying goes in baseball, chicks dig the long ball, and in boxing, everyone loves a big puncher. So the biggest puncher in the biggest division will always draw massive attention, and we know exactly who that has been, is, and will be in the foreseeable future. It can be argued that Deontay Wilder is the biggest puncher not only now, but perhaps in the history of the sport. Despite his lack of success against Fury, Wilder continues to be a major player in the division, and after his comeback return victory against Robert Helenius, Wilder's trainer Malik Scott has promised that something big is on the horizon. With two impressive victories over Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk has unified all but one of the belts in the division. If he is able to ever get Tyson Fury in the ring and defeat him, he'd be one of the first fighters in the four-belt era to become undisputed in two weight classes. With his unbelievable blend of footwork, ring IQ, and difficult southpaw style combined with an unrelenting will to win, Usyk's talent will be difficult to overcome. Though many fans believe Fury has done everything in his power to avoid him, the mantra for most avoided in the division belongs to Cuban sensation Frank Sanchez. After coming up in the famed Cuban amateur system, Sanchez sports an impressive record of 22-0 with his biggest win to date being his 2021 victory over the hard-hitting Ife Ajagba. Following that up with 3 victories since, Sanchez is ranked in the top 10 of all 4 major sanctioning bodies, though not yet mandatory in either of them. With his slick, difficult style and not being one of the bigger names in the division combined with the old high-risk, low-reward adage, look for Sanchez to perhaps have difficulty landing a shot against one of the marquee names or heavyweight titleists anytime soon. Unfortunately, with conflicting points of view seeming to come from the Anthony Joshua camp on when he should fight next, many now see Joshua as vulnerable, particularly after his back-to-back defeats to Usyk and a not-so-spectacular performance against Jermaine Franklin. Still Matchroom Boxing's biggest ticket seller, some fans may question whether he still wants to fight the best, while many others believe promoter Eddie Hearn has gotten in the way of certain fights being made due to his own ulterior plans. With another loss, one could argue Joshua may be protected from anyone that could pose him any risk in the near future, but Joshua has usually tested himself against the best, particularly with immediate rematches after losses and jumping into big fights before his 20th bout. For this, he gets the benefit of the doubt. The most protected fighter designation goes to...
Hi, Tyson Fury here. Just a quick one. I've been speaking to the lawyers today and Usyk's people are talking about rematch clauses and all that bollocks. Here's one to up the antes. How about there is no fucking rematch clause for both of us? Let's up the antes completely. Never worry about what's in the future and how many more dollars you can get after you've been defeated. Worry about the fight, April 29th, no rematch clause, the winner takes the glory, the loser goes home with his dick in his hand. How about that? Agree to that, you fucking bitch.
Love him or hate him, Tyson Fury holds the edge as not only the most protected, but also best overall heavyweight for the time being. Holding the WBC title now for over 3 years, Fury's blend of boxing ability, versatility, and toughness gives him the edge in this category. His trilogy with Wilder was the division's best since the days of Bowe vs. Holyfield. Following that up with a KO victory over perennial contender Dillon White, Fury still tops most publications as best heavyweight in the world, despite the ever-growing belief that it is he, not Alexander Usyk, that is holding up undisputed based on reports of Fury's unreasonable contractual demands during negotiations. One fighter not being held up by much is Jared Anderson. After a spectacular performance against undefeated George Arias, he ran his record to a perfect 14-0, and no opponent has seen the final bell. Perhaps the most talented young boxer the heavyweight division has seen for a long time, the man dubbed as the real big baby looks like the future of not only the weight class, but possibly also the chance to become one of the biggest box office stars in boxing. A step up in his level of opposition looks to be mandatory before eventually challenging for a title. But the stock is up and the sky appears to be the limit for the Toledo, Ohio native. For every stock that goes up, there's one that's going down. While fighters like Anderson's stock is soaring, a veteran like Dillon White appears to have seen better days. As battle-tested as any heavyweight in the world over the past handful of years, White is now in his mid-30s with many wars having undoubtedly taken a toll on the contender. The one thing that will never fade, however, is the body snatcher's willingness to take on challenges, as he has continuously challenged Anthony Joshua to a rematch and has already thrown one out to Zhang after his upset of Joyce. But one has to wonder, after brutal knockout losses to Tyson Fury, Alexander Povetkin, and of course the initial Joshua fight years ago, combined with his wars with Chisora, Joseph Parker, and last close call against Jermaine Franklin, how much the Brixton banger has left in the tank. Overall, the heavyweight division, while lively and with a solid amount of marketable names and big fight options at its disposal, won't mean much to fans if those big fights aren't made. Talks of a heavyweight event to be staged in Saudi Arabia in December between the biggest four names in the division has given fans some optimism, while others, who have been around and teased for years, are understandably looking at this, along with the biggest fights in other divisions, with an "I'll believe it when I see it" approach. Until the fighters are in the ring, who can blame them? If you like this video, please share, like, and subscribe. As always, thanks for your support. This was our breakdown of the state of the heavyweight division, and of course, this is the state of boxing.